Good morning. And sorry for the slight delay, technical difficulties, but we have overcome them. Welcome to Unity on the North Shore Sunday service. If you're joining us virtually on Zoom or watching later on social media, we're glad you're here. I'm Pam DeFilio, your worship assistant today, and Martin Taylor is our prayer chaplain and tech guru, and Rev Kurt is doing our lesson and meditation, and our musicians are Felina Bunn and Danny Bauer. Now the opening prayer. Holy Presence, we know that in God we can never be separate from love, from truth, from infinite intelligence and the source of all good. We gather here in this sacred time to open our hearts and minds to the one power and one presence. We gratefully receive the energies of divine light and love pouring in and through us. And we affirm we are here this morning for a divine purpose. We trust that purpose is now being fulfilled, for we know that we are now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And so it is. Amen. And now for some music from Felina and Danny.
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I've been for a walk on a winter's day. I'll be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on a winter's day. I stopped in the church, yeah, that I passed along the way. Well, I got down on my knees, and I began to pray. You know the preacher spoke with love, and I decided to stay. California dreaming, yeah, on such a winter's day. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I've been for a walk, hey, hey, this winter day. If I didn't tell her I could leave today. California dreaming, yeah, on a winter's day.
Unity is a positive, practical approach for spiritual living based on the teachings of Jesus and the power of prayer. We believe there's truth and beauty in every spiritual tradition, and we honor the many paths to the one God. Wherever you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. The purpose of Unity is to create a safe space where people are empowered to take risks and live their deepest truth. If this is your first Sunday with us, we extend a loving welcome. Many of us were surprised to learn there was a spiritual community that thought and believed the same things that we did. It felt like coming home. We hope your experience this morning is powerful and that you'll return. And now more music from Felina and Danny. And I just have to mention that this may be the one winter's day that it's warmer in Chicago than it is in California.
All right, so the song that we are about to do together is the Black National Anthem. And this is a song I've been doing since I was a little girl. But I learned as an adult that we usually only do the first verse in school and in different spaces. But the story can't be told unless you tell the whole story, so we're going to do all the verses, okay? So if you don't mind standing, because it is an anthem. I personally choose to put my hand over my heart when I sing anthem, so here we go. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the presence has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chestnut rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers died. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out of the past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. Keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places of God where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Thank you.
Thank you, Felina and Danny. So my name is Martin Taylor, and I'll be serving as your prayer chaplain this morning. Let us begin with the reading of the daily word. And the affirmation today is, let go, let God. I bravely release outworn behaviors and embrace my bright, brilliant future. Holding on to what no longer serves me because it is familiar and I've grown accustomed to it may stall my growth. I evolve much more quickly when I trust my guidance and release old patterns and behaviors. In my heart, I know that when I move away from a dysfunctional relationship, a negative attitude, or an unhealthy way of living, I move towards something greater: peace, safety, harmony, freedom, and fulfillment. I let go of anxiety or fear and open myself to the happiness and security. I breathe in freedom. My heart becomes buoyant and my steps lighter. I set my intention today to release anything I have been fearful of letting go, so that I can confidently move forward, open to infinite good. In the scripture, truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Matthew chapter 18, verse 18. And now as we continue to focus on prayer, let's take in a deep breath to center ourselves. And as we breathe in the air, we breathe in also the Holy Spirit. We breathe in peace. We breathe in calmness. Let's rest for a moment in that thought. And as we breathe out, our focus moves to our heart space. Blessed Holy Spirit, thank you for being with us here and now, as you are at all times. We will spend a moment in prayer for our loved ones and for those for whom we have a particular concern. Blessed Holy Spirit, we affirm that your presence, your strength, and your wisdom is with all who are suffering, whatever the human condition may be, and that your healing is that your peace and your joy are available to all. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And now we return to Danny and Felina for yet more music.
All right, this song requires your participation. Ready? I know a place, ain't nobody crying, ain't nobody worrying, ain't no smiling faces, no, lying to the races, yeah. Come on and help me say, I'll take you there. Come on, y'all, and help me sing it. Oh, shucks, come on and sing it now. Hey, let's go now. Hey, I'll take you there. Hey, yeah, yeah.
take you there. Hey, I know a place where ain't nobody crying, ain't nobody worried, ain't no smiling faces in my face. Hey, yeah, lying to the races. Hey, one more time now, help me. Yeah, I'll take you there. Come on, let me hear you say it. Come on and say it again now. Come on and go with me. Hey, yeah, yeah, help me, yeah. Come on, one more time, help me, yeah. I promise this is the last time, yeah. I lied, this is the last time I hear it. I'll take you there. Good job.
Oh, thank you, Felina. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, congregation here at home. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This is the last week in our series where we're really digging into some of the themes that I think resonate most highly at this time of year, this month when we're really looking at Black History Month. And so, Felina, thank you for taking us there with the Black National Anthem, and just really beautiful. So I've based all of this month's talks on a documentary made by PBS called America Outdoors. It's hosted by Baratunde Thurston, who is an amazing activist and comedian and writer, and PBS gave him this show, and basically it's kind of one of those travel shows, those adventure shows where he goes and explores different parts of the country. Well, today, and this is where you maybe will get the why we did California at the up top of the service, is he goes to Los Angeles. So we're going to be looking at Los Angeles. And what I'm going to invite you into is maybe a deeper thought about what spiritual themes or ideas might be being reflected in the stories, the little episodes that he recounts as he talks to people who are really stepping out and making a difference in the world in a beautiful way, whether that be around how we respond to climate change or how we just respond to racial injustice. But it's just kind of a really beautiful catalog of some wonderful stuff that's going on, and I think also very reflective of the kinds of principles that we want to bring to our own spiritual development growth. Yeah? So the first, I love it when you all nod, that's helpful. So the first, oh, and I forgot my little card. The first episode that we're going to be looking at is, how many, are you familiar with Los Angeles? I spent like 20 years there. So Los Angeles has a river. It doesn't look like a river most times when you're seeing it. It's usually from a freeway, an overpass on a freeway. It looks like a big concrete ditch. In the 1930s, to combat flooding, the Corps of Engineers cemented the whole thing in, or not the whole thing, but a good part of it in. So it's a weird drainage, sewer, ditch kind of thing. And in this first clip, what we're going to see is a man who has for years fished in the LA River. And what I'd like you to listen for is how he is able to look beyond sort of the appearance and still find the greatness of God that we know is everywhere present. So let's watch. The guy's name is Lino Jubilato. Our tech guys are over there.
That's a good spot. There's fish right there. Okay. Keep your rod tip low. If you hear me yell set, I want you to pull the trigger, okay?
Okay. How long have you been fishing on this river?
God, close to 40 years. When I was younger, it was just nothing but bass and catfish and bluegill. But carp have taken over the show.
So is this like your meditation spot? Like, what do you...
Absolutely. This is like, who needs a therapist when you can come to the LA River and stand in the water and fly fish? I mean, that's not even, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten me through some tough times getting out here. This is my escape.
It's hard to believe anyone can find escape in the midst of all the trash and graffiti. But Lino's become famous on social media for posts of his catches, and dozens of his followers have asked to join him on the water.
People are not afraid to ask for help and just to come, and I'm more than happy to take them down and show them.
What do you get out of that?
Just, I honestly, I'm one of those that gets probably more stoked when someone else catches a fish than myself, especially newbies, people who've never fished before. It's the best feeling in the world. There you go. Nice.
Definitely not my image of Los Angeles.
Nope.
Fly fishing in the LA River.
Fly fishing.
Yeah.
That's why they call them sewer salmon.
What do you call them?
Golden nuggets.
That's adorable.
That's what they are. They're a gem to me.
Golden nuggets, they're a gem to him. I love that. I think very often in Unity, when we sort of apply this principle of seeing the good, of really recognizing that Spirit is present and that there's always this beautiful expression of a life that is deeper than the sort of surface limitations that we might experience. One of the practices that we often talk about is like really identifying the good, claiming the good in that situation. What I love about Lino's experience here is that, and the clip doesn't really show, usually there's trash, there's graffiti, it stinks, it's the LA River is, at least that portion of it is the appearance of it is pretty palpable. And what I love about Lino is that he genuinely has moved into a place of really seeing the gift and the benefit and the gem of these carp that he's catching, right? It's, you've heard the expression that sometimes in Unity that we'll just sort of, in denial, we'll just sort of paste a smiley face over the empty gas gauge, right? He's not doing that. He's actually sort of moving into a space of experiencing and feeling from a deep, that's not just labeling it good. He's actually found a way to kind of reap the good in that situation. I think that's really helpful for us. And certainly that's a progression, you know, when we're caught up in negative appearances and being critical of stuff, it's really easy. The first step is like, okay, let's just claim that there is good here, right? And to label it good, maybe before we actually are really experiencing that good, but to be able to know that there's a deeper process. It's not enough just to call it by name. It also has to be a felt experience. We have to sort of change our core beliefs about what that experience means. And I think Lino does that beautifully. Okay, next up, we're gonna, I mentioned that part of what Baratunde does so beautifully is he's really able to bring awareness to social justice kind of issues in a way that is positive, that's productive, that's fruitful. It's not just critical of what's not going right, but he has this beautiful way of identifying folks who are doing cool stuff in the world. And so the next clip we're going to see is a group of surfers who have come together. They actually began this organization called Color the Water soon after George Floyd was killed. A recognition that in some ways beaches and oceans, which are, you know, that's the high price real estate in California, that accessibility for people of color, for people in lower incomes is not necessarily the same. It's not equitable in the way we think of it. And so let's watch now as we look at how this new organization, Color the Water, is beginning to make a difference in people's sense of connection and belonging, regardless of any other qualities. Yeah?
I never guessed that a place called the Great Dismal Swamp could be so life-affirming and so rich in human history.
So that's last week's soundtrack.
Pacific Ocean.
It's weird. That's not matching the picture. We've got a soundtrack going with a different video. How is that possible? The Dismal Swamp. No, I want to get to the beaches and surfing. Is that? I'm just so confused about how it could be playing two different recordings. Can we give it one shot at?
I never guessed that a place called the Great Dismal Swamp could be so.
Yeah, because I can hear the surf soundtrack going underneath there. We got two videos playing somehow. Well, I can tell you what I was going to tell you afterward without seeing the clip. That's a little weird. Let's see. How can I give this a context? the piece of it that I found most kind of profound, and it's if we're able to watch the clip, I hope we are, but that when Baratunde asks these surfers, some of them are very new to surfing, what their experience of the water is, why it's important to them, what the piece of it is, they articulate such a beautiful description of like the presence of the divine. Like, and I don't want to use their words because I want us to hear them. I'm hoping we're still able to. But it's like when they are on the water, when they are surfing these waves that represent this immense power of the universe, right? Creating, shaping shorelines, shaping cliffs, that they have a connection to that which is greater that extends any experience that they have anywhere else, right? So that was one of the pieces that I really wanted to bring forward with this clip. This clip was really rich in a couple of other ways too. One, he gives a history of surfing, because when we think of surfing, especially in California, right, it's the thin, blonde, muscly, like that's the image that we have. But what we know is if we go back to like early 4th century, it's like people in the Philippines that were surfing way before the U.S. was ever settled. So that there have been people of color surfing the planet, surfing these energies of the world, these far, far before it ever sort of had this sense of entitlement on the wealthy areas of California. So that was a beautiful little insight I brought in terms of the social justice piece. And to be able to then, this group, what they're really wanting to begin to do is create a sense of equity and accessibility from those who might not otherwise have the opportunity to try it, right? Because surfing can be expensive. You got to be able to get there, and Los Angeles is cut up in such a way that accessible and public transportation doesn't necessarily allow folks in some of the especially on the south side of LA, just like here, I just realized that, south side LA, south side Chicago, that's where we decided we were going to have, or take advantage of some of the public development stuff. No luck?
No, like I can't access what, because it's embedded in the PowerPoint, isn't it?
It is. Oh, so there's two.
There may be one behind it.
Oh, I know how to fix that. I know how to fix that. Are we in the PowerPoint now?
Yeah, and it's in edit mode.
Okay, so let's start by cutting this one off. What did I cut?
That's your Pacific Ocean one.
Yeah, let's cut it. Is it gone? Why didn't the picture leave? No, let's move it over. And
There it is.
kill this
There it
one.
is.
And move
There you
this
go.
one back. I wonder if that's true of the next one too.
Maybe.
Let's move it over. Oops, not that. Thank you all for being patient. I built these, that's how I know it messed up.
Because you put one on top of the other one.
Yeah, I thought when I replaced it that it would kill it, but it clearly doesn't.
Is there another clip?
Yeah, that's the last one.
There you go.
That's the drone. I don't know. We'll see. Whatever plays, I'll talk about. That's not right, though. We got a mess. Ain't nobody trying. Feline and Danny should be singing instead of me, huh? So that's the drone, the shark guy. This is the.
This one's the surf.
This one. But I thought I moved this.
It should snap back. There you go.
Okay, now there's one more. I don't know why the drone is there. There's 3 of them there. Wow. Are we good? Okay. We're watching this one. Slideshow from current slide. I don't know what that's doing.
Where's the sound?
Sound. We've got the video straightened out. Is the sound? Okay, good.
Wait until the rest of the crew gets here. What's up?
How's it going?
I think
The
so, yeah.
Pacific Ocean.
Ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
This feels so cool. We're like the surf gang.
Wait until the rest of the crew gets here. What's up?
How's it going?
I can't help but notice the four of us draw a lot of eyeballs.
Being up in the parking lot and walking through with our surfboards, people turn heads. They're not used to seeing, people that look like us out here. You're so used to seeing kind of the Californian surfer, blonde, tan, thin. So for us to be able to share that with people that have the same identity is huge.
Yeah. That LA surfer stereotype is a far cry from the very first surfers thousands of years ago.
Who were the original surfers?
The popular opinion is that it's from Hawaii, but people were riding waves in Peru, Micronesia, Melanesia, like all these people of color were riding waves and in harmony with nature.
It was the Polynesians who brought surfing to Hawaii when they migrated there in the 4th century. Surfing didn't take off in Southern California until the 1960s. But these days, the surfboard is practically a registered trademark for LA. And surfing's origins in communities of color are all but wiped out.
Why does it matter to you, the image of surfing in LA?
Because oftentimes it's presented as a privilege, right? To live oceanside and to have access and all that. Like it's a luxury. What I access when I enjoy surfing, I think is a birthright.
Now that I'm suited up, it's time to get my Point Break on.
Surfing. What do you get from it? What does it do for you?
To ride energy that is completely natural and that you have to be there for as it's breathing its last breath. It's just a really profound experience.
For me, it is an opportunity to connect with the deepest part of me that is inaccessible anywhere else on the planet.
I think the ocean's just a place of calm, and it's humbling being out there.
Humbling is the perfect word for what's happening right now. My larger board should make it easier to balance, in theory. Provided, of course, that I ever do catch a wave.
Pacific Ocean, that's my boo right there. And just when I had said to myself, I don't care if I get up on the board or not, Lizelle gave me the shove I needed, that loving shove, to help me catch that wave. I've never been in the ocean with that many black people in my life. Feeling surrounded by love? Can I go that far? I think I can. I felt this embrace from the ocean. Maybe it was the squeeziness of the wetsuit, but also this community of people around me. And I felt really held up and really supported, not just by the surfboard, but by the people.
Yeah, the only other point that I want to make that Ed and I speak to is that idea of community. Like, it's in community when we can really begin to, as we say in Unity, take risks and live our deepest truth. And I think they articulate beautifully what living from that deepest truth kind of feels like when we can surf the power of God in our everyday lives. I love that clip. Okay, next up, and thank you all for hanging with us through the technical pieces of that. You can see why we need these people so much. All right, so the next piece is, this is a guy named Carlos Guyana. And he is a drone pilot and also an aerial photographer. And what he has filmed has been really kind of shocking and eye-opening for folks. And what I would like you to listen for or look for is the way in which we allow fear to really obstruct, fear and maybe some misguided or misinformed information to obstruct our own capacity to be fully present to what life holds for us, yes? So that's the little invitation I will make as we watch Carlos Guyana.
It's beautiful, right?
It's really
Seeing
amazing.
everything from above.
The water's so beautiful. It's easy to see why Carlos is drawn to this bird's eye view of LA's wild spaces. But a few years ago, when Carlos was filming whales off the coast of Malibu, he caught sight of something he found a little more disconcerting.
I actually saw an adult great white shark just about 200, 150 yards out. Wow.
Great white sharks are the largest predatory fish on the planet. And this one was right in one of the most popular swimming spots in LA County. I have a sense when I look at the ocean that it's empty. And I see surfers out there and they're chill, partly because they're not surrounded by sharks. How often are you seeing sharks near people?
Oh man, I'd say almost every day. I've learned that encounters with humans are probably more common than we ever thought they were.
Carlos started posting his shark videos on YouTube, and soon they took the internet by storm. Viewers were stunned to see sharks swimming so close to people, from paddle boarders to kayakers, and in one case, even kids.
They're just boogie boarding, not even far out, like right there where those people are, right there, just right there.
That sounds real close.
Very, very close.
That's my heart rate increasing, just so you know. Just telegraphing my internal
It
status.
definitely made my heart rate go up.
Yeah. Carlos might have shocked his YouTube viewers, but his videos confirm something scientists have been saying for years. That sharks aren't nearly as dangerous as we've been led to believe.
And I think it's decades and years of us being conditioned to that. But now as I see more, I'm realizing that these white sharks are just chilling. They're just hanging out. There's no better word to describe it. They're just chilling. And I get people almost touching them, and they have no idea they're there.
I've always thought of sharks first and foremost as predators. And while Carlos has captured them attacking prey, like this dolphin, he always stresses that context is key.
The dolphin was already dead. Okay. Something that a lot of people may not realize is that sharks essentially are the cleaners of the ocean. Okay. So they'll rid the ocean of stuff that is like a dead dolphin, a dead whale,
ocean
things like that.
janitors.
Yeah, they're ocean janitors. Okay. So that's a major part of their diet.
Yeah. Although
So the piece that I think this invites us into spiritually is to recognize that in a lot of cases, that which we fear is actually a doorway through which we can transcend it, right? And recognize that, like sharks, they have this divine purpose to be able to clean up. And the same is true when we really come face to face with the stuff that we're fearing most, right? If we're courageous enough, brave enough, if we're supported by community in a way that really facilitates that we too can get a truer picture and understanding of what that fear might entail, and actually allow it and use it to be able to move up to another level of consciousness, one that is more grounded in what's real, sort of in a divine sense. Yeah? Love Carlos. Okay, one more clip. This is this one I picked mostly because we're starting. This is a big week, right? We're finishing up with Black History Month. And also Lent began on Wednesday, so this is our first Sunday in Lent. And I chose this clip because I think it really speaks to sort of the whole dynamic that we in Unity believe about Lent, right? That we fast and we feast. We fast from negative conditions or negative ideas, and then we feast on that which is true. So I would love for you to use that as a context as you hear Delaney Montoya's story. I'm not going to tell you any more than that because I think the clip does it pretty well. Yep, so fasting and feasting, releasing negative ideas and stepping into or grabbing hold of and embracing what we know to be as the deepest truth of us.
Delaney Montoya entered the California penal system in 2017. 2 years later, she was offered the opportunity to become an inmate firefighter.
When you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a princess. I never thought I would be a firefighter, ever. Never.
What is your favorite part of fighting fire?
It's exciting. Like there's nothing that could possibly explain the feeling it is to be out there when there's the whole mountain's on fire and you have to stop the fire from going further. Helping people and saving lives, and then the gratitude, having people come up to you and tell you, thank you for your service. And I'm an inmate. I have prisoner down my leg. I have prisoner across my back, and they're saying, thank you, we appreciate you. There's just the most amazing feeling to feel like you're doing good, like you're wanted.
Yeah.
Going from being a mess up and just, a low life to being accomplished and doing things that are like unfathomable. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling, honestly.
In the summer of 2020, Delaney learned she was being released from prison early due to COVID. But she didn't celebrate because she didn't want to leave.
I found out in July that I was getting out in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I was devastated. I was all, write me up. I don't want to get out. I loved fighting fire so much that I wanted to do that.
Wow.
And I just didn't think it was possible to do it out here.
Yeah.
This training program now makes becoming a professional firefighter a possibility for Delaney. She still has some certifications to earn, but knowing how hard she's worked here, I have no doubt her dreams are within reach.
Whether it's on an engine or a crew, if I have to do grunt work, I don't care what I have to do to be successful. I am going to be a firefighter. I know it's not going to happen overnight. I've never quit on anything, ever. You wait and see. I'm going to do great things.
I believe it. If there's a fire coming from my house, I want you there.
Thank you.
Firefighting is about saving others, but in many ways, Delaney has been saved by firefighting too. It gives me hope to see the passion of Delaney and her fellow trainees for their work and for the great endangered outdoors. Because this landscape all around us and Los Angeles itself need all the help they can get.
So I don't know about you, but it hurt my heart when she referred to herself as a lowlife. Did you get that? And to be so kind of immersed in that belief about oneself that you'd rather be in prison than to look for a different way, right? But I think it's the same for all of us. Like, we have our own prisons that we build, our own limitations that we lock ourselves into. And it's not until we're able to sort of see beyond that, to claim something greater, to recognize that we truly are created in the image and likeness of God, and we have all of the potential to create and do good in the world that anyone else does. All the potential that God does, that God has bestowed with us. So I love that as a kind of profile and a model and an inspiration for us to begin to follow and to begin to maybe be more aware of the places where we are imprisoning ourselves from the magnificent, splendorous lives that we're meant to lead, right? So what I think sort of brings all of these together, this is like my synopsis, is that we have encountered along the way, along these 4 weeks, people who are incredibly passionate about the work that they have undertaken, and people who are making really beautiful changes in terms of equity and more accessive and inclusive world, and more understanding about the world around us and what that means, and what the environmental changes hold for us. And that, for me, is like great leadership. So I think what I'd like to do at this point, and this is going to be instead of our usual meditation, but is recognize the leadership that has really allowed this community to move through some pretty tough times over the last few years. And just as a kind of I don't know that I'd actually call it a meditation, but maybe a prayerful exercise. Let's be able to kind of, from our heart space, from a spiritual space, really begin to acknowledge the contributions of those who have stepped into the highest forms of leadership here. And I want to start with Jasmine Sasek. If you'd come forward, Jasmine. Yeah, I'd hug you, but I'm getting a cold, and that's why I've been masked all day. Yeah, good idea. You want me to go this side? Good idea. So this woman is absolutely incredible. She stepped onto the board actually 4 years ago now. It's a 3-year term, but we had a year where we couldn't meet as a congregation because of the restrictions, and so that whole board agreed to serve an additional year. So Jasmine is one of those who's extended it by a year. And this last year, she has served as president and moved us through. She has just, I don't even know how to. She came to the board, and what she always, part of what we do is want to identify what it is that we're going to take from our experience as trustees, as board members. And Jasmine had articulated a desire to be more patient.
It was assigned to me by Spirit, actually, because we all chose cards, and my word was patience.
Oh my gosh, that was handed to you, huh?
It was handed to me, but I knew it was meant to be.
And not only has she sort of demonstrated an incredible degree of patience, and I don't know if that was all internalized, but she's also brilliant at sort of moving things forward. When we would get stuck, when there were, we were going off in different directions, there were all these things, she would be, all right, what's the next piece forward? And we would do it and make it, and just phenomenal. She has an incredible kind of executive capacity to keep us going. So we will definitely miss that as part of the energy that you brought to the board. And I just, as a kind of a thank you, these are a prayer wheel from the Writers of Daily Word. It's a new product that they've just sort of come out with, and I thought that might be something that you'd love.
I do. Thank you. Beautiful.
Maybe use it with the kids too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's give Jasmine an incredible round of applause. Feels good, huh? Yay. All right, thank you. And you're not done with us. We're actually going to try and get together. Oh yeah, I'm done with you today. Yeah. But we will. There is more to come for sure. So now I would like to invite the current Board of Trustees, which we just elected 2 weeks ago at our annual meeting, if you all would come forward. And maybe even just get up on the platform stand up on the platform. Oh, Danny, if you would. This is traveling music. That's the song that I asked Felina to do for the I'll Take You There. These are the folks who have taken us here, who are taking us here. Okay. So, they don't know what they're doing. I haven't told them anything about this. So what I'd really like to do is kind of walk through, and we're missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jan, is she still in California or Florida? Maybe. And Evan's swimming. So we have 2 board members who are not here. We're going to bless them in sort of absentia. But what I'd like to do is maybe I'll just go down the line and speak to the qualities that I have seen each of these folks demonstrated, kind of like I did with Jasmine. And what I would like you to do, so a couple of weeks ago I had a coughing fit up here. And in the middle of that, all of you out in the congregation, I could feel your love and your blessing, some of your hands up, and that's kind of the posture I'm going to invite you into now. As we sort of focus on each of these individual board members, if you would just, like the heart that's the gratitude, the whatever's in your consciousness, if you could share that and extend it out to each of them, that'd be wonderful. Okay, so I'll start with Suzanne. Originally, I was going to match them up with the 12 powers. Jesus had the 12 disciples, and each of them represent. We've only got 6 though, so but many of those powers are represented. Suzanne, I would say, is represented by the power of will. She's also, I would say, zealous. She also has the power of zeal. She gets excited about something. She puts the energy and her full force of consciousness behind it, and she makes stuff happen. So if you would just thank Suzanne for that incredible capacity she has to bring leadership and focus and action to the work that we do on the board, that she does on the board. Okay? Breathe it in. You feel it? Yes. All right, next up, John. John Lindner has been on the board 3 years. I think he's got one next term. We're going to try and get him to re-up. We'll see. What John brings is an incredible wisdom, I would say, and a capacity for understanding. He sees big picture things. He sees big picture patterns and what it is that would help us to move forward in ways. That is what we can put in place structurally in terms of the organization, but also a really sweet, compassionate heart as well. So that's what that's how I've experienced John's energy. And let's just thank him for just the incredible wisdom, insight, and strength. There's Jan, fresh in from Florida. I was thinking you were still at Florida. So we'll back up now, and we want to bless Jan. What Jan brings to the board, how I experience Jan's energy, is just an incredible willingness. She shows up no matter what needs doing. Jan shows up over and over again. She has a passion for social action and social activism, so she's very involved in the work that we're doing with Interfaith Action. And just thank Jan for her incredible heart and her capacity for justice and her passion for doing what's right and aligned with Spirit. All right, let's go back to Kathy, our treasurer. This is a role that has been especially challenging the last couple of years as we switched the whole infrastructure that we were doing behind. Kathy has been treasurer now through going on three bookkeepers. I think Jean was on board when we started, and she can't even remember. But there have been a lot of processes that we're still in the midst of pulling together, and Kathy has just been stalwart in helping us to discern what's right. And she does it with a great sense of integrity. Like, we do what we do because we know it's right. And she has a tremendous capacity for being courageous about speaking up. That was one of the things. And so we appreciate that about Kathy's leadership. Send your blessings. It's fun, isn't it? A little uncomfortable? And Alyssa, did I mention John was secretary? I should do the officers while we're going along the way. John's secretary, Kathy's treasurer. Next we have our vice president, newly named vice president, Alyssa Foster. Also just an incredible, compassionate heart. Her passion really is making sure that all voices are heard, that we're really allowing or creating an opportunity for all voices to be heard, and she does it in a gentle, beautifully articulated way. She has an amazing heart. The 12th power the 12th power that I most associate with you is love. So just send Alyssa back that same love that she so beautifully shares. And then lastly, but certainly not leastly, is Kathy Leone, who, courage, that's all I can say, courage. She has agreed to take on the presidency, having just stepped onto the board. So just a beautiful willingness, an incredible heart. She's been very helpful in terms of our site selection team on the RPH committee. And what she brings is a real desire to make sure that we are continuing to move forward and that we're doing it with a level of integrity that involves as many views as we possibly can. She has a really beautiful capacity for listening, I've noticed. She is just going to be a wonderful president. So let's send her strength as she steps into this role. And she's also just had hip surgery, so a little bit of healing energy would be good too. So Kathy. All right. So now if each of you would pick up one of the candles on the little table in front of you. And I'd like you each to light a candle, even off the Christ candle behind you, Jan. It's right behind you. And you can pass it down. So the light of these candles represents the light of the Christ that each of you carries within you and that you bring to your work with Unity on the North Shore. Of course, the Christ candle represents the energy and the Spirit and the Christ essence of the entire congregation. So that's what we have lit this from. So please repeat after me. I commit to always put my own spiritual development first. I commit to always putting my own spiritual development first, for only then can I wisely serve as leader. For only then can I wisely serve as leader. I commit to being a team player with the other members of the board. I commit to being a team player with the other members of the board, listening and showing respect for diverse opinions. Listening and showing respect for diverse opinions. I commit to honor myself and others by speaking my truth. I commit to honor myself and others by speaking my truth. You guys are really good at these. These are long. Asking questions and being clear about my own needs. Asking questions and being clear about my own needs. Congregation, you see before you the lights of love and wisdom who have stepped up to serve as your board, and you have heard commitments that they have made as trustees. I ask you now, do you commit to support and nurture them so that their experience as part of your leadership team will be empowering and joyful for them and of the highest value to this ministry? If so, please say, I do. Do you promise to, now I'm back to you. Do you promise to faithfully follow the light of truth, seeking at all times to be aware of what is right rather than who is right? And if you have a differing opinion, do you promise to meditate first, think secondly, and speak lastly? Then and then only to the person or persons who are directly involved. If so, please say, I do. I do. Thank you. Yeah, let's now, I forget what we were doing. I had a really brilliant idea about how this was going to segue nicely musically. So as we sort of reaffirm the beautiful energy that these folks bring who are going to lead us there, I do install you here and now as the Board of Trustees in loving service to Unity on the North Shore, with all of the rights, privileges, and obligations pertaining to those offices. May God live abundantly in your wisdom, your love, and your commitment to one another and to this church. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Board of Trustees of Unity on the North Shore for 2023.
We're so grateful you're in this thing. Yes. We trust you to get this thing. You take this thing. Thank you for your service in advance. We'll take this thing. Yeah, we'll support you. We take this thing.
Thank you. One more round of applause for our new Board of Trustees. Jakob. All right, then. So actually, Jasmine, I think this is the point in which we're going to ask you to step forward for a RPH update.
Okay. Great energy here this morning, not just because I got a gift either. Okay, so RPH stands for Right and Perfect Home, and that's been our process going on for many years now. And in our present state, it looks like releasing this property and transitioning to a new property. So an update on what's going on with that. We, as most of you know, have a buyer lined up for this property. And we've been in the process for the last year or so of that buyer submitting proposals to the City of Evanston, site plans that need to be approved. So we have a meeting in about 2 weeks with one of the committees at the City of Evanston. The kind of top people there have sort of preliminarily said that they have chosen one of the site plans that they think will go through, hopefully. A lot of the hang-up has been about where the easement will be with the co-op, so it's a site plan that really allows for them to have easy, good access to their co-op property, and that also allows for them throughout the construction process to always have access, of course, to their property. So just, no huge new news right now, but hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll have a little bit more information for you after that committee meeting, and then we can go on to the next level after that, hopefully. So that's where we're at. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, now is the time in our service when we share our love offerings. Here are 3 simple ways to give. Text the word GIVE to 815-827-6052. Give online at the website, www.unityn, like Nancy, S like Sam.org. Mail a check to 3434 Central Street, Evanston, Illinois, 60201. Please also consider making a recurring gift in the Tithely app. That's tithle.ly app. Or to avoid any transaction fees, you can set up an automatic payment with your bank's online bill payment feature. And in the sanctuary, please give your gifts at the back. So now, let's bless our giving and receiving. Together, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
All right, well, thank you, musicians, live stream team, especially for solving our tech problem earlier. And everyone here and online, your presence has blessed us. So now for a few quick announcements. Today, after the service, we're screening the documentary film about Evanston's groundbreaking reparations program. And the film has interviews with our own beloved, late, great Hecky Powell. And it's called The Big Payback. There's a lunch from Hecky's Barbecue that'll be served, and Hecky's wife Cheryl is here as well. And your love offerings are appreciated. We have an announcement of a memorial service for a longtime member, Julie Cook Downing, who made her transition back in late December. The actual service is here in person on Tuesday, February 28th, that's this Tuesday, 3 p.m., but it's by invitation only for the in-person service, and everyone else is invited to watch on Zoom. There'll be a Zoom link. Do you know how people can get the Zoom link? On the website. So her husband, Ted, is going to be creating a celebration of her life. And then, where's Reverend Jeff Berry? He's come on up and talk about your 6-week class starting Wednesday.
Thank you, Pam. I am launching another class, and I'm inviting all of you to join me. We're going to meet on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock here at UNS, and we're going to be studying the book Talks on Truth by Charles Fillmore. And I wanted to do this study because I just think for all of us who have been coming to Unity for such a long time, some new, some old, but there's so much understanding underneath what happens here on Sunday. And I really want to take a look at that. The book is full of more information than you can study in a lifetime. But My intention is to bring out some of the major ideas from that book and just see how we can work with them and apply them in our own lives, because that's what we're doing here on Sunday. But I think that understanding that we can build underneath it is going to really enhance our experience and motivate us to participate more and grow as a congregation and a community. So things like, how do we raise our dead? That's an idea that's out there in the Bible. So how can we do that? How can we exercise our free will and make a partnership with obedience at the same time? Because those ideas don't seem to go together, but there's a way. And so things like this, I really want to take a look at, have a discussion. If any of you were in my other class, I do a very casual class, and it's very discussion oriented. And so I would love to see as many of you as are interested and able to attend. The whole series would be great, because we're going to go through that book, and I've got it all planned out with lessons each week. Or if you just can drop in and you just want to get one or two of the sessions, that is also fine. So I hope to see you there, and thank you for listening.
Okay, and that's it. And Felina and Danny will lead us with our peace song, and then Martin will lead our closing prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be our joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now please join me in the prayer for protection. The words are on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Thank you for being here. Have a great Sunday. And don't forget to watch the movie afterwards. Thank you.
Yes, going home to get all the
Hello. Okay. All right. Everyone can hear me? Yes. Okay.
The recording has stopped.